ladies and gentlemen, and vector designers, we're going to do our hydro flask stickers using Pixlr. All right, so the first thing I want you to do is go to Pixlr on the internet, make an account, use your school Gmail, hit pause on this video, and then come back after you have completed that. All right. So let's go ahead and get started with this thing. But before we get started, make sure you do the brainstorm. You have to figure out what your sticker is going to be, and you have to figure out how big it's going to be. So, and then turn this in for points first, and then we're going to continue on. So hit pause until you get that done. All right. So now I'm going to show you what not to do. Sometimes it's better to show people what not to do first and then show them what to do next. So do not follow my lead yet. Okay, so here's what I'm going to show you how to make. This is the sticker I'm going to make. But before I make this sticker, I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to go to Pixlr E. That is something you want to do, and I'm going to create a new document, and so I'm going to make a new document. I'm going to say 200 by 200, and I'm going to create that. Okay, and so then I'm going to go File, and I'm going to open an image. Okay, so I'm going to open an image, and so then I'm going to open this picture, and I'm going to say Open. Okay, and then I'm going to do all kinds of work on this picture, you're pretending right now. Let's say I'm doing all this good work, and then I'm going to let's add some stuff to it. So I'm going to go Image, I'm going to say Add Images Layer, and I'm going to choose, this is, by the way, this picture is super high quality right here, really detailed. And then I load it in, and it's loading. It's going to take forever, so be patient. Maybe you should just fast forward this video. I guess I could hit, I don't actually have my full setup here. I left my cord at work, so I can't really do all the stuff I normally do. Maybe I can. Oh, there it is. Okay, now, so I put in this thing, and I guarantee you, I promise you, it's super high quality. Now let me zoom in on this thing. Oh, wait a minute. Is it super high quality? No, it's not super high quality. So never do what I just did. Never go, hey, File. Let's start by opening an image. And the reason is we have no idea what the quality of that image is, right? So the image I started with, so let me turn this off. So the image I started with was crummy quality. So look, see how pixelated it gets so quickly? Okay, so this thing was crummy quality. And so everything has crummy quality after that. So don't do that. Okay, don't do that. Don't start off with crummy quality. Okay. By the way, since I'm here, what do you see when I zoom in? What do you see when I zoom in? Well, we'll talk about that later. All right. Hey, can I get that lost information back? By the way, no. Let's take a look at it. So on this picture right here, the quality has disappeared. It's gone. So if I had done a bunch of work, all that work would go into this low quality thing. You can't get the good pixels back. All right. So no. All right. So write this down. By the way, everything is in red is a question that you have to answer in your notes. All right. So so we're working with Pixlr or Photoshop. Whenever you're in Pixlr or Photoshop, you're dealing with a raster image. It's an image made up of squares called pixels. So unlike when we were working with Adobe Illustrator, there was never pixels because it was a vector design. Everything was these smooth mathematical curves that when you zoomed in, it was as smooth as could be. But that's not the way it is in Photoshop. So if you zoom in on an image in Pixlr, what do you see? You see a little square. You know this file is pixelated. You see the squares. Write that down. All right. Oh, what's this? Okay. So how you start is more important than in Illustrator. Why? Okay, so in Illustrator, I never made a big deal about hey, you got to start with the exact right size document or whatever. And the reason is because if you made something the wrong size, you could shrink it or make it bigger, and it wasn't going to pixelate. You weren't going to lose quality in Illustrator. But in Photoshop, you do. If you start off with the wrong, or in Pixlr, if you start off with the wrong size, you lose quality all along the way, and you don't want to do that. So it's really important that we do it right. We are going to print, so the resolution should be 300 ppi. Just write that, 300 ppi. That's how many pixels per inch. So if you look back at this thing, that is definitely not 300 pixels per inch. It's way less than 300 pixels per inch. So that's like 30 pixels per inch. Doesn't look very good. Okay, and then what size is a regular piece of paper? So we're going to print this thing on the on our printer in class, and so it has to be paper size, so 8.5 by 11. So write that down, 300 ppi, 8.5 by 11. You don't have to write down the rest of this stuff. So our document in Pixlr, if we take 8.5 times 300, that equals this, and 11 times 300 is this, and so that is the size we're going to make. So let's do that right now. So now I want you to follow what I'm doing. Okay, so we're going to go File. No, we're going to go Home. Okay, and we're going to create new, and it's going to be 2550 and by 3300. 25503300. That's going to be That's going to be a good size for an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper when we hit create. Okay, so we have this. And by the way, I forgot to do it. You can the background is clear. If you wanted, there's a way. Let's go home. Let's see if there's a way to do it. Oh yeah, so if you can turn a background on, if you want a white background, you can have a white background and go like that. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is where's the name of this thing? Is it this one? Okay, so we're gonna give this a name. How do I give it a name? I'm gonna hit pause and figure out how to give it a name. Okay, so what I decided to do is I just went home. I'm gonna start this whole thing over again, but this time I'm gonna name it. I'm gonna call it Sticker Brian. Okay, so give it a good name like that, 2550 3300. If you want a white background, then hit create, and then you have your sticker that's named properly. Okay, so now this thing has good resolution. It's gonna pixelate, but it's not gonna pixelate as bad as the other one, so it's gonna look good. Okay, and so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add my main image to it. So the image I'm gonna start off with. So I'm gonna go layer, and I'm gonna say add image as layer. Okay, and so then I'm going to find what I want. Here's what I want to add. I found a image that I like, and I've checked the quality, and it's good. So I'm going to click open, and then I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to make it the size I wanted. So I decided I want this to be 3 inches. So it's a little bit tricky trying to figure out how big that is. But if this is 8.5 inches, I can kind of, so this represents the size of a piece of paper. I can get it about the size I want. So I think about right there is about how big I want the sticker to be. Okay, and so then I'm going to zoom in, and let's just double check. I'm going to zoom in, and the quality is good. So the quality is going to be okay. It's a little fuzzy, but it's going to be okay. So I'm going to drag this here. I'm going to click on my zoom tool. I'm going to say I want to zoom out, and there I have it. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to create this star with the lava in it. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I have to select that thing first. So I'm going to create a selection of that star. Actually, I think I'm not. Actually, I'm going to put in my next layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say image. Nope, I'm going to say layer, add image as layer. And so I'm going to go to my lava, and not that ugly low resolution one. This is the high quality lava. So I'm going to use the move tool. I'm going to move it over the star. Okay, and I'm going to drag it. Now I'm going to drag this larger and make it a little bit larger. Probably right there is what I want. Okay, and so over here, so I have this thing called layers. Right? You should remember. But so I have one layer, which is my Ezekiel picture, and I have one layer. Oh, by the way, just so you know, my son's name is Ezekiel, and that is why I'm doing this, because I'm going to make him a sticker for his Hydro Flask sticker, or for his Hydro Flask. Okay, so what I want to do is I've got to select that star. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in. And use the hand tool and move it. Okay, and so because this thing is all right angles, I decided I am going to use the lasso tool. And you can just like select stuff like scribblies. Okay, but that's not what I want to do. I'm going to go select, deselect. What I want to do is I want to use the polygon lasso tool, so it just makes everything in straight lines. So I'm just gonna click, 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 and click. Okay, so now in any raster-based program, before you do anything, you have to select something. So I selected it. Now, let me just show you what I can do. I mean, just simple stuff. So I have my brush tool. I'm going to say, what do I want my brush to look? I want it to look like a fuzzy brush like that. Okay, so I can come over here and then I can oh, it's not showing. Here we go. So I can that area that I've selected, I can actually start to paint. Okay, but I'm going to press Control Z and undo that. Okay, so just to show you though, in a raster-based program, if you want to make any changes, you have to have an area selected to do anything with it. All right, so but what I'm going to do now is I am going to, so I've selected the star shape, and now I'm going to turn on the lava layer. Oh shoot, let me go Control Z because I apparently have some, okay, I got rid of all my drawing. Okay, so I turned on my lava layer, I've got my great selection, and then I'm going to go to select, and I'm going to convert that selection to a mask. Okay, and so it just clipped out. It only is showing the part of the picture that I want. Okay, and so now if you look at the bear, there's some like white edges around it that I don't like. Okay, so I'm going to come down to this layer. I'm going to turn this layer, make it invisible. I'm going to come down to my bear layer, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this layer back on. So I'm working on the bear layer, but I can still see that layer. So anyway, I'm going to go to my brush. I'm going to make it black, and I'm going to go to the brush tool, and I'm just going to paint out. I'm going to paint out some of that stuff. And I think my brush might be too big over here, so I'm going to make that brush smaller. I'll choose a small brush. Okay. All right, so I'm going to come over here. So I'm going to brush out that white. Like that. So it looks my lava looks way crisper now. Okay. All right, so that looks good so far. All right, so we're going to do the same thing again, but we're going to do it to these letters. But I'm not going to select these letters using the lasso tool because that would just take forever. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Okay, and so I'm going to use what's called the wand tool. And so it basically selects things based on color. So let's take a look at kind of how it's going to work. So it's a real handy tool. So if I click on, so I'm on the lava. So if I use this tool on the lava, it's going to select by color. And so it selects everything that's the same color. So if I click here, it's going to select that yellow color. Now the tolerance is how much it's going to select. So if I click on it now, it's going to select more stuff. So it selects based on similar colors. Okay. So now this is going to be easy down here. So I'm going to work on this. I'm going to say select, deselect. Okay, and I'm going to close my ads because I'm using the free version. Let me zoom out again. So I'll go minus. Okay, and let me zoom in maybe just a little bit. There we go. So use my hand tool right there. Okay, so I'm going to go to my magic wand tool, and I'm going to put the tolerance. 32 is kind of the normal. I'm going to go 62, so it's a little bit higher. So if I click, it's going to select, and so as I'm looking at it, it's like, nah, it didn't get enough. It left a little edge. So I'm going to turn this up to, I'm going to put it at 120, and then I'm going to try again. So I'll click here. Okay, that looks like I got everything. I'm going to hit Shift to add to the selection. So I press on the Shift key, and I'm adding. All right, so I have that, and so I'm going to save that selection here. So I'm going to go select, and I'm going to save that selection because I've spent all that time selecting it. I don't want to lose that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to Layer, and I'm going to add an image as a layer. So we're going to add a picture, and so this right here is a cartoon, and it's basically about there's A man named Ezekiel lived, I don't know, probably like 5,000 years ago. It might have been like 4,000 years ago. At any rate, his people his people were enslaved by the Babylonians, and he was ticked off by it, and so he was basically trying to encourage all of his kinfolk at the time. At any rate, so he's a historical figure. But so here's this crazy cartoon about it, and so you can kind of see here. You can see the letters, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the hand tool, and I'm going to move this thing. Oh no, not the hand tool. I want to actually move the picture. Oh, this stupid ad. I don't want you stupid ads. All right, so no, not that. Edit, undo. Okay, so I'm on the wrong thing. I want to move. No, I thought that was the right thing. All right, so I want to move. Let me zoom. Let me zoom out here so I can see what's happening. Okay, so I want to move this. Not that. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna hit. The problem is edit undo. I can't. I have to deselect that. So let's go select, deselect. There we go. Okay, so now I can move this thing. I'll use the move tool, and I want. What do I want in the picture? I want maybe this stuff right here. We'll see what this looks like. Hopefully good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is same thing. Okay, so I'm going to go to select, restore selection. So I've got my selection there of the letters. And so then I'm going to go select, and I'm going to say convert to mask. Okay, and so now let's zoom in and see what it looks like. Oh, that's crazy. What did I just do? Oh, there it is. Okay, let's see if it'll do it. Okay. Oh, that looks good. That looks good. Okay, so you can see I've done my 2 clipping masks. One, I selected this using the lasso tool. I select this one using the wand tool. So at any rate, this is the main thing that we're going to do with this project. So we are going to add these clipping masks to the project to take something and then make it super interesting like this. Okie doke. Let's see. Let's jump back to our PowerPoint and see if there's anything we missed. Okay, so make sure that every time you're done with it, you have to download this thing and save it. So we're going to go File. So you do this every day, make like different versions. So we're going to go to Export it. No, that wasn't it. File, Save. There we go. File, Save. And we're going to save it as a PXC. So this is a Pixlr document. Okay, and so I'm going to click PSD, and then I'm going to download it. And so if you're in school, you need to put this download in your folder with your name on it. So I'm going to show you what to do. If you're at home, it's going to be on your Chromebook, and you're good. If you're at school though, let's see if we can find this thing. No, that ain't it. I'm gonna find my Oh, there we go. Gotta download. Okay, so there it is right there. So if you're at school, you got to find your folder with your name on it, your Novell folder with your name on it, and throw it in there. And so we have it in there. So at any rate, so hopefully, so in the short term, Pixlr will save your stuff right on the website, but long term, you got to make sure you save it like that. All right, so that's it. That was long, but hopefully good.